Secular Talks Kyle Kulinski talked about debating Milo Yiannopoulos, the idea, my apologies, of debating Milo Yiannopoulos or Ben Shapiro, and he's going to talk about it here. Check it out.
Will you ever debate a conservative in the near future at events like Politicon or such? That's another good question. So, and this was the number one question, by the way. People asking, when are you going to debate Ben Shapiro? When are you going to debate Steven Crowder? And, you know, fill in the blank with whoever their favorite conservative might be. And the answer to this is, at this point, I'm actually torn. There was a time where I wasn't torn, but now I'm torn on it. So, on the one hand, the thought of putting my ideas up against a conservative's ideas, somebody like Ben Shapiro or whoever, I like that. I like that. I like the idea of sitting across from them and going back and forth and letting the audience decide who did a better job and who presented their ideas better and who they think is right. I do like that idea. But on the other hand, and this is what I've always been struggling with when people ask this question, I might be doing a disservice to the audience by doing that, because it's setting up this false equivalence. So, and what I mean by that is, if you go back and look at Bill Nye versus Ken Ham, for example, Bill Nye is talking about things that are just like, duh. And Ken Ham is this creationist who's a lunatic, who's saying things that have been debunked 1,000 times over. But since it's a debate, it's being presented as a 50-50 proposition, where it's like, hey, it's an open question and let's debate these things. But aren't you doing a disservice when it's not an open question anymore, to debate it and present it like it is an open question? So, for example, climate change. It's not an open question. It's happening, and it's largely man-made, okay? So when you have on CNN somebody saying climate change is happening and somebody saying climate change isn't happening, that does a disservice to the debate, because it's a false equivalency, because it's leaving the impression that, I don't know, it's equally valid, you pick a side. That is horrible. That's not... It's like saying, you know, again, evolution versus creationism. We have the answer. So why are you debating it? Ooh, I don't know what the answer is. So I do think that does a disservice when if you have somebody like me, and then you have somebody like Ben Shapiro, and we're debating the issue of healthcare, and I'm up there saying, hey, every other modern nation has one version or another of a single-payer system. When you look at the rankings of the healthcare systems throughout the world, the top 10 is virtually all single-payer systems. The U.S. does shitty. We're the worst of the developed nations, whether you look at the World Health Organization study or other subsequent studies that have been done. This isn't a debate anymore. And then you have guys like Ben Shapiro who's like, expensive furniture is like healthcare. Remember that tweet that I mock all the time about, you know, he compares people getting healthcare when they're sick to not being able to afford expensive furniture. I think I'm doing a disservice to the audience when I'm up there and I'm pretending like this is a debatable topic. So in other words, in a situation like that, debate is not merited. Fact-checking is merited. Where you go, okay, this guy's wrong, and here's why the fuck he's wrong. So that's why I'm torn on this. And also, I only would debate somebody who I think is real and not playing a character. And I don't know about guys like Milo and Steven Crowder. Are they genuine? Are they legit? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If Steven Crowder says Hitler was a liberal, and there are people who have a hard-on for me to debate him, what on earth is going to be accomplished by me debating a guy who says Hitler was a liberal? He also, by the way, says, to this day, climate change is a liberal hoax. He also believes in a zombie Jewish carpenter who walked on water. Like, these are all things that are so preposterous that wouldn't it be a disservice to go out there and debate this guy and give the misimpression to the audience, hey, we're talking about issues that are up in the air. They're not up in the fucking air. It's not a question as to whether or not Hitler was a liberal. You know who says Hitler was a liberal? The dumbest motherfuckers on the planet, or liars. Liars who are playing a fucking character, who are being Mr. Conservatism. So he's either the biggest idiot on the planet or he's a liar. If you're saying Hitler was a liberal, So I don't know. That's what I struggle with.
So now when it comes to debating either of them, Milo Yiannopoulos, I think, is definitely not worth debating. I'm not even sure why he's there, because he's just more of a troll. He's not really somebody to engage in anything serious. He's a provocateur. He's not somebody who's really serious. But when it comes to Ben Shapiro, I'm curious as to what you guys think, you know. What kind of debate would it be, and what kind of would happen, and things like that. I'm just curious to know what you guys think. Let me know down below. Support independent progressive media by leaving a subscription down below. Leave a like and share the video. Help us out on Patreon, or you can donate in other ways. Links are in the description down below. We are fighting Trump tooth and nail, and we will continue to do so with your help.